Bang, zoom, straight to the moon. Here we are. Another Thursday, Ask Us Anything call. My name is Kurt Von Ahnen. I'm here with Magic Emily Middleton. Folks, we're going to be here for the next hour or so. I do see some folks coming into the channel, which is great. Here's the rules. When you get here, go ahead and just put in a comment. Let us know who you are, where you're from, kind of what you're up to. I really get off on knowing like where people are from. I think that part's fun. We get a lot of people from Canada. We've seen people from Africa, all kinds of places in Europe, and of course the United States. We had someone from Japan for a while, and then I haven't seen them in forever. So that's a bummer. We need someone new from Asia to be signing in. But put your questions and answers in the chat, and we can go ahead and say hello and take care of things and all the things that we need to do. Wow, I made my Slack really huge. That's a big screen I got there. Gary is in the comments. So Gary is one of our friends from Canada. It's great to see him. I'm sure that Delphine will be signing in shortly. Works with Gary. Gary, you're saying thanks for the recommendation for Fluent CRM. I probably sound like a broken record, but there's only a couple of CRMs that I really, really like. One of them is Groundhog and one of them is Fluent CRM. They both work inside of your WordPress website, and they have a lot of premium features. I have migrated a lot of my projects from Groundhog to Fluent CRM just because the user interface is different, and it's I feel it's more like, I don't want to insult people, but Groundhog is like more fun, more interactive, more designed for almost like entertaining to use on its platform. Fluent CRM is more sanitary and more corporate looking to me. And so I've been using Fluent CRM for a lot of our tools, but looks like Gary's into Fluent, and that is awesome. Let's see what else we've got. I'm going to go over to our spreadsheet and see if we have any questions that came in advance. How about you, Emily? How's your week shaping up?
It's going all right. I am doing a lot of custom code stuff, building little add-ons for LifterLMS and LifterLMS groups. And yeah, just the normal stuff. I guess besides that, I'm working on selling my home. So that's going through the process this week too.
Do you remember going back like 2 years ago? You would put a house on the market and it would be on the market for like 3 days and it would be gone and it would sell for 30 grand over asking price. It was crazy. Everything just comes down to timing,
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. Weird question. I have seen this question before. I think this question comes from people overseas in the way that they translate or something. I'm assuming they don't have a payment gateway hooked up and they're not getting payments. It says, why am I no longer receiving stipend? Why am I no longer receiving stipend? Do you think that would just be like that? That's their way of saying people are placing orders and I'm not getting the money? Because a stipend is payment, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put it on the screen. I'm sorry. I didn't put it on screen because I was like, I don't know if I want to put that on screen. You could say maybe you were part of the affiliate program and you were getting a commission from the affiliate program that Lifter has. But if you haven't had people sign up, you ain't going to get a stipend from that. so hey, how come I'm not getting that affiliate check anymore? Well, because you haven't sold anything in a long time. But here's one. Why am I finding it difficult to complete some of my courses and it doesn't want to open? I have heard this 2 or 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I had someone that had added a complete LifterLMS installation to a paid memberships pro installation and then had confused the way some of the things had worked. That was one. I had another one where like permalinks were never flushed. And so they were building stuff in the back end of the website, but not seeing it on the front end. And then, of course, when we had them flush the permalinks, that restored everything back to proper working order. So if we've got a question like that from Basani here, why am I finding it difficult to complete some of my courses and it doesn't want to open? That lends me to think they're probably having that issue where, they installed the platform, they didn't flush their permalinks, and they're not seeing what they expect on the front end.
Mhm.
Are you in a position to do a screen share just to show flushing the permalinks?
Yeah, I could do that.
What are you eating for lunch? You're killing me. What are you eating over there?
I am eating breakfast. I'm eating chili oil and bananas.
That sounds disgusting.
Right. It's leftovers from Chinese food last night and a banana. So that's why
Chili
I'm at.
oil and bananas.
Yep. No. Right. It's but it's cucumber salad. I think where they dice up a cucumber, put chili oil on it, and some spices and some peanuts. It's really good.
I do like cucumber salad.
Yes.
I love the seaweed salad that you get from different Asian restaurants.
Seaweed salad. I don't know if I've had that.
Seaweed salad's super tasty. And you know what's weird is like seaweed's everywhere, but it ain't the cheapest thing to get. I'll tell you that. These restaurants charge a fair penny for it.
Right. Let me see. So flushing permalinks is going to be settings, permalinks. And then all we need to do, I do recommend when people flush your permalinks, or if you haven't seen the screen before, always make sure post name is what you've checked as a box. Most WordPress hosts now have post name as the default when you install WordPress, which is a great thing to do. But to flush your permalinks, you just click Save Changes at the bottom and change nothing. And that will check all of the existing link structures that exist in your website and just verify that all your Groundhog or Fluent CRM links, all of your LifterLMS groups or social learning, whatever tools you are using that are adding URLs types to your website may cause a problem, and you just got to flush it.
Yeah. And it's such a weird thing. I mean, it's one of the resources on the LifterLMS website. If you were to go to LifterLMS and search up that type of problem, or even just search permalinks, that's going to come up as the resource to try to fix your problem. Now, if you flush the permalinks and you still get nowhere, right? You're having some kind of a problem. I'm not being critical. I'm just trying to give you some help. It would be really great to submit something to help at lifterlms.com, include a screenshot of what you're seeing and what you thought you would see, or something like that. Give us some direction as to what you're trying to do, as opposed to, I installed your plugin and it doesn't work, please help, because that we don't really know where to go or what to do. So if you could be really specific about your problems and maybe a couple of screenshots here and there, if you submit to help at LifterLMS, that would be fantastic. Well, that wraps up another call of the Ask Us Anything call. No, it doesn't. We got more. We want to welcome Kate to the call. Kate's here. Kate says, hello, Kurt and Emily. I've created a resource that's intended to be downloadable by learners, either as a printable PDF or a fillable PDF version. What's the reason for also including the thumbnail image of this asset? What's the reason? What's the reason for also including a thumbnail image of this asset? I don't know that you have to include a thumbnail image of the asset. So what I normally do, Kate, is I'll take that PDF and I'll load it up into the media bin. And then typically I'll create a button or a text link that links to the URL of that media bin resource. And so I'm not using a thumbnail or any image per se. I'm just linking to that document. And so what'll happen is, let's say I put in a button that says, fill out our PDF now. They'll click the button. It'll open up in a new tab. They'll fill out the PDF and hit submit. It's done and gone, but that original tab that they were on is still there. So like if it's in a lesson, they can mark it complete. If it's if it's on your course page, they haven't left your course page. Now they can move on to the other content. But yeah, typically I just take the PDF, the Word doc, the PowerPoint, whatever it is I need to share with my people. I load it up as an item inside the media bin. When you load something to the media bin, it creates a specific URL, and then I just link to that, whether it be a button or a text link, or could be a thumbnail of the image and then hyperlink the image to the document. But the main thing is having a link to the document so that the document pulls up in a new tab. Anything to add to that, Emily?
Muted.
Yeah. She's
Very
got a
good.
further to that. Further to that. Both of the downloadable files seem to be fully visible, multiple pages showing. Is there a way to add a downloadable file that doesn't show the file with buttons that say, what I just described. So I think you might have like a display any document type tool installed on your website, and you might have a PDF tool installed on your website, and you might be using the WordPress block that says, embed a PDF and then select the PDF, and then it shows the PDF on the page. I don't do it that way. I do it the way that I described it the first time. I add the resource to the media library, and then I create a button or a text link that links to that item so it opens up in a new tab. I find in most cases, Kate, and this is maybe I'm being a little bit too weird here, but I find that when I have a document that actually opens inside the lesson, it doesn't get viewed properly. Like it's embedded in, so it's got a smaller display area. And so then people have to manipulate it. Like, do they want to open it in full screen? Do they want to expand it if they're on mobile or on a tablet? Do they want to try and expand it? They want this, want that. I find it so much easier for the user when it opens up in a new tab. Now, this makes me a contrarian in the LifterLMS family because our demo sites come with a tool called Embed Any Document, which allows us to put the PowerPoints and the PDFs directly into the pages. However, that is not my preferred method of application. So let's see.
Yeah.
Kate says it said something about visibility being an issue on mobile, but so far I can't access the site directly. Can't access the site directly. I don't know what's going on with that, but you can't check this. All right. I would definitely try just putting the resource, whatever the resource is, the PDF, into the media bin, create a button, and then link that button to the media bin's URL for that item. What are you thinking there, Emily? Am I crazy? I'm not crazy.
No, I like the idea of, especially with a fillable PDF, of putting it in the media library and then opening it in a new tab, because then they can just fill it out in their browser and download it from there. So they never even need to download it to their computer and open it in a software, because most browsers support those editable PDFs just right there. And then they can just save it and upload it wherever they need to. As far as fillable PDFs within the website, it might be possible, like you said, Kurt, with a PDF better, but I wouldn't do it anyway, because it would probably confuse users that they think that their progress will be saved if they fill out part of a PDF on a lesson page and then leave, maybe. So I like that new tab to really make sure it's an independent resource and everybody knows that. That's what my thoughts.
Super cool. Yeah, it's so weird because PDFs, to me, they seem to have changed in their behavior in the last few years. Because I can remember when like trying to get a PDF off of a website seemed like pulling teeth, right? Like you would click on it, it would open, you'd have to download it, you'd have to download the Adobe viewer, and but nowadays you click it, it just opens up in a new tab. The controls are right there in the browser. Do you want to download it to your local thing? Do you want to fill it out and submit it there? I mean, everything seems to be browser supported now, and so much easier than it used to be, that it seems like the real way to go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's close that. Now, Kyle's in the call. Kyle's been here before. Um, I know Kyle, by the way, so we can take the veil off of that one. Hey team, I may have set things up in a suboptimal way. I never set up memberships, mostly because I don't understand its use case. I usually have people just buy one course. Yeah, Kyle, you nailed it. Lifter LMS is built for multiple use cases across multiple things, and so let's say your website, man, I feel like I just want to say like who you are and what you do, because I think it's pretty awesome. So I'm going to say it. He trains bartenders. So training bartenders is super cool, especially for a guy like me that loves beer. So you train bartenders. Now let's say instead of the course about becoming a bartender, let's say you had a lot of courses. Let's say you had a course that was like a course on frozen drinks, a course on Latin drinks, a course on hot drinks, a course on beer, and a course on wine, and a course on top shelf spirits. So you know what? I'm giving you a lot of free consulting here, Kyle. These are probably great ideas. You should probably watch the replay. Make sure you don't miss any of my ideas. So you have all these courses. Now let's say now you've got 6 courses instead of 1 course. So what you could do is you could say, hey, you can buy the course to become a general practitioner bartender, right? And that's just buying the course. Or you could buy our VIP access membership, which gives you access to the generalist course, but also gives you access to, and you can have this be like an auto enrollment feature. If they sign up for the membership, then they could do hot drinks, iced drinks, Latin drinks, beer, and wine. And then so you're giving them specific information about each niche or each genre that they would be working in. And so that's one area in which memberships to me make a lot of sense, because I can use it almost as a menu board to bundle certain courses together. So let's say instead of doing it that way, you're like, hey, I want to have a course on Argentinian wines and put that course with rums and things like that. And then I have this other thing that's for Texas and Tennessee for different whiskeys, right? So you could literally have a membership to call it the Argentinian membership and the in the South membership. So you could do that where you could take things regionally and put them together. Now, what's cool about a membership is it could be a one-time purchase that gives them access to those courses, for them to take in perpetuity. Or you could set up recurring billing, and then you could encourage people to come to your like monthly live Zoom call, like what Emily and I are doing right now, right? You could say, hey, come to our monthly live Zoom call and communicate with other people that are in the Argentinian drink space. And you could do some cool things like that. So if you just have one course and your customers are transactional, they're coming in, they're taking the course, they're getting certified, they're leaving, they're not coming back, you really don't need memberships. You really don't need memberships at all. You just sell the course. But if you are offering something that is like recurring billing, some kind of community feature, more communication, live workshops or office hours, anything like that, then you want to consider probably putting a membership into place and building recurring revenue with this user base rather than one-time revenue with the user base. I probably went a little too far on that one, but that's what it is. That says I'll have customers buying multiple courses at some point, but I have an issue with existing if someone attempts to buy a second course from me. No. So if that's the cool part about having these LMSs. Let's say Bob Smith takes your general alcohol course and they take that, and then you come up with some kind of cool like frozen drinks course. That same user can log into the website. They can enroll for the frozen drinks course and pay for the frozen drinks course. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. So that is right out of the chute. Kate's back. She says there's a setting to force it to open in a new tab. Emily showed me that. Well, that is fantastic. Are you doing stuff in the background there, Emily? What's going on with you? You're like, just keep talking, Kurt. I'm working in the background.
No, I was reading some of the comments over here. Yeah, I like the recurring membership idea. I think if you don't have recurring revenue as a part of your business, it's going to be almost impossible to scale.
Yeah, I hate the word impossible, but there's a lot of truth to it. And here's what we battle. No matter what you think in your head, It doesn't mean that's what your customers think. A lot of times we get imposter syndrome, or we begin to doubt ourselves. Like the idea of having a membership and people paying you every month, you think to yourself, well, everybody's got too many subscriptions. Nobody wants another subscription. I don't want to have to offer another. I don't want to be some salesy weird dude on the internet trying to collect money every month from strangers. That's, people are tired of it. But let's get to the real facts of it. If you are bringing people value and your information makes people feel that there's value to be in your presence. And if I just point out a couple of names on the call, these are people we see in here almost on a weekly basis. So obviously we're bringing some kind of value to those people, right? Now this call's free, so that's a bad example, but we have the office hours call that we do an hour after this call. And that's for people that have the universe and the infinity bundles. So people pay, in a lot of cases, the difference between buying a bundle or not buying a bundle for some of these folks is they just want access to somebody on the team on a regular basis that they can ask questions to, or get some help, or get a screen share. Because even though our knowledge base is super complete and deep, the bad part is it is super complete and deep, meaning you got to do some work to find the stuff you want sometimes. And being able to reach out to myself or Emily, on a live call and just get a quick screen share, a lot of times has value. So that's what I'm talking about with memberships, Kyle. Sometimes we're afraid that we're not offering enough value and that people won't see it, and they think the subscription is a ripoff. But in reality, the reality is much different. If you are an expert in your field and you are bringing value to the table, people will not mind a modest subscription to be in your presence. I was just thinking, not that Kyle's highlighting my problems, but there's some people that talk about whiskey on TikTok. I watch them all the time. Every time they have a live, I get a notification that they're on. I watch them. Yeah. I'm not addicted to whiskey, but it's interesting. I like to see what they have to say about different bourbons and stuff. Like there's value in that. Like if it cost me $3 a month to be able to sign into their live and see the show, I'd probably pay the $3 a month, just because to me that there's value. It's entertaining, for some people, the value is entertainment. For other people, it's knowledge. For other people, it's discipline and accountability, like for consultants and stuff like that. I threw out the stupidly low number, like $3 a month, but it's someone that's just sitting on a stool, drinking a shot of something and talking about how good it is. Like, I don't think I have to pay somebody a lot of money for that. But if someone's a professional and they're giving me information that's going to help me make more money in my own business, and it costs me $100 a month to be a member of it, it's probably worth it if it brings the value. So the big thing is, do you have the value, and can you do it on a regular basis? I knew Delphine would come. There we go. Delphine is here. All right. You ready to talk to Gavin?
Yeah.
Gavin says, if I disable e-check as a payment option within PayPal, does the Lifter PayPal plugin follow this rule? There's been a few cases where people pay via this method and the payment fails. Well, I could understand the payment failing if the method's not approved in PayPal. So that makes sense. But I don't see anything in the PayPal setup that asks about e-checks.
No, I mean, I would imagine that's over like in the PayPal portal.
Yeah.
I really can't speak to this. I don't use PayPal. I try to avoid it if at all possible. But I can see why something like an e-check might cause an issue in the LifterLMS order notes. You could hit up help@lifterlms.com and ask, hey, you're using e-checks through PayPal. These are the messages that you get on the failed orders. If you can give them access to a staging website to see a copy of the orders, that's the best thing you could do. But even if you were to copy the order notes to them and say, like, this is the error that we're seeing, usually when it says payment failed in the order notes, when you edit that order on the back end in LifterLMS, it's got some notes on the side that says exactly what happened. And that might lend some usefulness to it. And if worse comes to worse and you're like, okay, I gotta stick with PayPal, I gotta stick with e-checks, I can't get a solution on this, maybe there might be some kind of a setup with Zapier. I've never looked into how PayPal and Zapier work together, but Zapier can create users inside of LifterLMS. And so there might be a consideration to be like, if we're looking to expand into parts of PayPal that LifterLMS might not work with, um, maybe there's a Zapier tool that might be able to help us with creating the user and making sure they get created if it's captured successfully.
All right.
I don't know.
Kate has another question. I'm going to put it up here because we have an answer. Kate says, we got the Universe bundle. How do I get into that extra office hours you were talking about? You can't, Kate. It's a secret club. There's certain things you have to do. You have to participate in The Greatest Race, that TV show. Typically, it's the one based in America. You're going to have to wear toe-based shoes. Those barefoot sneakers that are so popular right now on social, you got to wear those. They got to be purple. Teasing. Kate, just send a message to help@lifterlms.com and we'll make sure that you get on the appropriate mail distribution list so that you get the link when it comes out every week. The link is unique and we only send it out to people on that list. If you were like, man, I'm getting spammed to death by Lifter and you unsubscribed from the list, that's going to be a hurdle. But as long as you didn't unsubscribe from the list, we should be able to make sure that you get on the proper list for that. So make the title of your email office hours. Just for the subject line, put office hours, and then put, we are a subscriber to the Universe bundle. Please give me access to the office hours. The thing that's going to help with that is if your email is not the same as the account email on the Universe bundle, chances are whatever that email is getting the invite to go. But if you're not getting the email because it's someone else's email, that could be an issue. So we can switch the email on the account if we need to. And I think in some cases we can add emails. Universe, you can have how many users? 2?
For support contacts, yeah. I think it's 2.
I think it's 2. So if you have like someone in the office that bought the Universe bundle and then yourself, but you're not the email on the account, you could have yourself added as a support contact on the account, which comes in handy anyway in case you need support. But then you would also be added to the email list for the office hours call. And I wanted to answer that question on this call specifically so that other people would hear it. It's the answer is not just for you, Kate. It's for other people that might also want to experience the magic of being on the office hours call. Adam Silver says hi. Adam, hello. Kyle was back, but we got Manuel is in here too. So Manuel, I'll be with you in just a moment. Kyle says, might be a strange question, but in addition to PayPal and Stripe, are there any crypto Bitcoin payment options in the future? I'm going to tell you something that I did, Kyle. I was experimenting with Bitcoin back in the day, and I got a Bitcoin wallet plugin. I put that on my site. It gave me a short code. I added a short code to my checkout page, and I was able to give people the choice of using the payment gateway as standard or clicking the button for the Bitcoin payment. So there's ways to work around it. I don't know of anything in the works right now to make it part of the standard LifterLMS payment gateway system. So it would be something where you would have to go third party and add a button or a link or something. If you were to add a button or a link or something, just know that you want to think the process through, right? So if someone completes a payment, what happens next? Do they get added as a user in the CRM? Do they get access to this course, that course, or another membership? So all those things, if you put in a third-party tool, you just want to make sure you build the automation on the back end of that third-party tool to not only collect the money, but give the people what it is that they paid for.
And if you are going to do cryptocurrency transactions through Lifter, I know Chris at Lifter is very excited about Bitcoin. and crypto in general. So that's a very exciting topic. We haven't really taken any concrete steps on it though. But if you were to even integrate something, you should probably try to get the money out of whatever account is accepting your transactions, filtered through like a bank account, and then you could reinvest it in crypto if you wanted to. But I think there's like some security with like if you're accepting money into a wallet, it's not super complicated for people to get into that wallet and withdraw those funds or get into whatever wallet you transfer it to from there. So if you can get it out of the crypto, out of the blockchain, sell it off into a separate account, and then if you want to reinvest it, you can. That's what I recommend to people who do crypto transactions. Because if someone gets into your account, they can just drain all the money out of your crypto wallet, and that's a sad thing to see.
I don't have to worry about it. I'm not a crypto person. Crypto freaks me out. I'll just say it. I'll just say it out loud. I'm not embarrassed. Not a fan. I think I got freaked out by it when like people I went to high school with 35 years ago were like, ring, ring. Hey, Kurt, how you doing? Who the heck is this? It's Bobby. Bobby who? Man, we went to high school together. Don't you remember? We were best friends. Hey, have you heard about Bitcoin before? Bobby, are you serious? Are you serious right now? So that was my introduction to Bitcoin. So that's that. Yeah, it kind of steered me away. I know Chris loves it. Adam Silver is a distance runner, runs a lot of distance. And his new PR, 81 miles. 81 miles. I'm including that in today's show. I'm going to take a screenshot of it, and I'm going to send it to Chris. Because Chris did the rim to rim to rim run at the Grand Canyon, and I think he is a lunatic. So that's I don't know how many miles that is. What was it, like 52 miles or something Chris ran?
They were doing like 16 hours straight.
I don't it's too much, man. It's too much.
Right?
I couldn't imagine doing that.
It's wild.
All right. Let's see. Gavin says, thank you. It's more so people. Oh, yeah, it's about the e-check thing. We're already on top of that one. Good. Okay. We're going to bounce back up to Manuel Saldana. Oh, I love that name. So, hi. Hey, I'm using dripping mode for group of lessons. Perfect. All inside the same course. Okay, perfect. Even more easy. Is there a way to notify the students when the lessons are open to read? No. Yes. No. Yes. Dang it. What do you want to say? Emily, you could get creative. You could get creative with engagements, Manuel. You could say, let's say that you have 3 sections in your course, and they complete the first section, and the last lesson in the first section has a quiz, and they complete the quiz. You could, and say you want to drip section 2 by a week, right? So what you could do is you could say in engagements, when somebody completes a quiz, send an email. And then you would have an email that would say, hey, just want to let you know the second section opened up for you. Don't miss the exciting content in lessons 6 through 10 or whatever, right? And then you could delay that message being sent for 7 days after the quiz was taken. So you could get kind of fun with the engagements and get creative that way. But normally I recommend that people have a CRM in their website and that they do more with the CRM to control some of that. There's really nothing out of the box. There's no automation that says, hey, when this drip opens, send these messages to these students. There's not that. And the problem you have is that if it was a cohort and everything started on the same day, that would be great, because then you would just use a CRM tool and you would say, hey, on May 1st, send this message. On May 7th, send this message. On May 14th, send this message. On May 21st, send this message. And you can just build that funnel like into into a CRM tool like bada boom, bada bing. But if you are doing asynchronous learning where people are able to work at their own pace, and the drip was set on 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, after they completed that section, each student would have a different opening date for section 2. And so that's why I said engagements could be kind of morphed in that way. So you want to have a trigger. So student complete course, student completes a quiz, student completes. If you look at engagements, you'll see the different triggers that are there. And then you'll see the different things that you can activate. You could send a badge, you could give a certificate, you could send a message, right? You can send an email. And so you can use the tool in that way. And then you can customize the delay between the trigger and the action. Did I make that confusing, Emily?
No. Yeah, you're just running like 2 synchronous systems. And if you're using a CRM, you're going to be doing the same thing anyway. It's just running a little automation. Depending on how many lessons you have, engagements can become a mess because there's no way to organize them on the back end. You just have one master list. So if you think that you're going to create more than like 50 engagements, I would use a CRM.
I run into this a lot with WordPress and the idea of the LMS, Emily, and I'm just trying to process a thought, and I want to make sure I say things in a way that makes sense. There are certain expectations or assumptions that come like with a learning management system, but there are also certain structures and ways that happen in WordPress. And I think a lot of times users or creators, as they're getting into the platform, they make a lot of assumptions like, oh, if this is going to do this, it should do that. But that doesn't exist. It's not a thing. Like it's just not a thing. There are certain things in reporting that are not a thing. People say, oh, well, how come it doesn't have this or how come it doesn't have that in the reporting? And it's like, because it's not in the reporting. I don't, it's not there. Could you develop it? Yes. In a lot of cases, you could custom develop almost anything. Emily's into a ton of that. Like if you want to custom develop your dashboard or custom develop your reporting or custom develop the email sequence that goes out. For instance, someone enrolls in your course, they get an email that says, welcome to this WordPress website named such and such. This is your username. Click here to set your password or something like that. I can't tell you how many people contact me on a weekly, monthly basis saying, oh my God, where did this message come from? How do I change this? I hate this. And it's like, that came from WordPress. That's a WordPress automation. That has nothing to do with Lifter. It's not a fault with Lifter. It's not a problem with Lifter. That's a WordPress thing. But when you build a more complicated website with WordPress and Lifter and a CRM tool and maybe a community tool on top of all that, and each of those things have the ability to communicate off of the website, you want to do a user audit of your own product. Like you want to sign in as a fictitious student and you want to see like, what messages do I get? Where do those messages come from? What triggers what? And then you want to kind of audit that experience. And so maybe your community site has some emails you want to disable. Maybe LifterLMS has some notifications you want to turn off. Maybe WordPress is a little wonky on some of its messaging and you want to customize that stuff. You can, but a lot of it's not accessible through normal menus. And in that case, you either want to do the research on how to change it yourself or hire a developer that's got the 8, 5, 10, 16, 23 years of experience to get you a custom application of what you're specifically looking for. I just went on a little rant there, but I mean, there's a lot of it. We're getting a lot of questions right now about where does this come from or that come from, or how come this message went out? And it's like, it's all there. Like it's all there. WordPress has stuff. LifterLMS has stuff. If you are curious about the engagements or the notifications that LifterLMS has, you can go to lifterlms.com in the little search box, just put notifications, and it'll tell you how notifications work, how to modify them, and where they're at inside your dashboard.
I thought of one thing. Private Areas from LifterLMS has an automation feature where you can build out automations pre-built. I mean, I have, why do I talk about it when I could show it? Automation Oh, man, the chili oil is very intense. But if we were to
Oh,
say
the bananas aren't cooling it down.
the bananas are, I'm out of banana.
I'm out of banana.
Send more bananas. Um, Notifications. So we can add a private post and say, hey, lesson 1 is open, or whatever. You might say lesson 1 to 5. Lessons 1 to 5 are open. Are open. You could say, what, access your lessons here. This is what you're going to learn, etc. This is instant. But then we'll have a second one about lessons 6 to 10 are open. And then we can delay it a number of days after the automation begins. And so we can build all of our notifications via private areas. This will email students and say there is a private post available for you. And it will work for all the students without a bunch of engagements. So that's another option.
Yeah. But in that situation, that's assuming the whole class is a cohort and they're doing things on the same days. Right?
Well, you could do on a certain date if you wanted to. Or you could do number of days after the automation begins, which is whenever you enroll.
Yeah. But like if one student does section 1 in a week and the other student does section 1 in 2 weeks, when they get that message for section 2 or section 3, there's going to be that gap in time because the students aren't on the same schedule.
Yeah, because
so it doesn't work for, what I'm saying is it wouldn't work for self-paced learning for bulk mailing like that because it would not align with when the student finished things.
Yeah, no, there's no alignment when the student finishes things with the drip or this automations or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except actually you could do this. This is kind of creative. If you were to build an automation, so this is like lesson specifically for lesson 6 to 10, and then you publish that. What we could do is say add new engagement. What we'll do is when the student completes a section, so when they complete section 1, you select the section, we will start the automation. So you can kind of trigger these based on when people complete things.
There you go. Kind of.
It's I recommend a CRM usually, but there's some interesting ways you can work with it, like Kurt said.
Yeah. So that was for Manuel. See, it's you're not asking crazy questions. You're just asking things that take a lot of thought, and then each thing is based on use case. So you'll hear us having a discussion like, is it asynchronous? Is it synchronous? Is it a cohort? Is everybody starting the course on the same day and finishing on the same day? There's all of those things that kind of have to be thought of because whenever you come up with a solution, the second part of coming up with that solution is kind of poking at it and seeing like, okay, where are the holes at? Where is this not going to work? Because one of the things that happens in working in a platform like this that has as many layers as it does is if you do things in a hurry and you put a solution in place, but you don't poke holes at it and see where the problems are, and then you put students in there, and then you got 50 people in there bouncing around causing problems, that gets to be a huge distraction. So work through things. Like I say, if you put a solution in place, it doesn't hurt to do this on a staging website, and then test it. Sign in as a student and test and see what the results are, and make sure that you are getting what you expect.
Yes,
those are the
always
things.
test.
Yeah, that's the thing with the whole development thing to me is like you have to have. I have a lot of times where clients will ask me something like, well, what if it did this, this, and this? And I go, I guess that could work, right? Like there's content, there's data, I guess we could make that connection. Oh, then why don't we just A, B, and C? Well, because no one else has ever A, B'd, and C'd before. So, or at least I don't know of it. So if I don't have firsthand knowledge of something, I'm very reluctant to be like, oh yeah, Bob's your uncle, put that in place right away for you. I want a chance to see it, touch it, feel it, smell it. Is it going to add friction to the user experience, or is it going to make things easier for the user? A lot of times we come up with these solutions, we invent solutions thinking we're making it easy for the user, but on the back end, we've actually created friction. And so you always want to sample things from a student perspective to make sure it's doing what you assume or think it's going to do. All right, so here comes Manuel. Great. Never thought about delaying the engagement message. Perfect. Delaying engagements to me, I have a lot of instances, not like a funnel, but like where here's a perfect example. You have somebody that has to recertify every year. So I'll put in an engagement that's delayed for 10 months and I'll say, yes, that's 300 days, right? So I wait 300 days and I pop them a message. It says, hey, just a heads up, your certification is going to expire in the next 60 days. You're going to want to sign, you're going to want to re-register for the new version of the course to maintain your certification. And then I usually link the new version of the course so that they can go right to it, enroll in it, and then of course follow through and take the course. So there's a lot of ways that I'll use engagements that way. And those are for people that choose not to have a CRM. Again, I go back to for professional sake, for appearances, for consistency in messaging, to be able to run newsletters and other things. I'll typically always recommend a CRM to people, but Lifter is pretty capable without the CRM. We just have to get creative. Kate says that date relative CRM funnel would be a great new feature for LifterLMS. Ka-ching. Now I'm confused because I think that's the automation you just showed, right? In private areas?
Yeah, yep. That's kind of the inspiration for that.
Yeah, so it's not that it would be, it's that it is, because we just reworked private areas, and private areas got re-released. Was it last month or 2 months ago? I think it was 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a couple months now.
Yeah, so private areas is an advanced add-on. It comes with the Infinity bundle, and it enables instructors and students to converse directly, to share things back and forth. What I like about it is, especially if I have instructors that are working with young people, I don't want them texting or emailing students directly. I want them to use the website for communication. And then that way everything's backed up. God forbid I need to go to court about something that was said or typed or done. I have a record of it in my site's data. So I'm really big on private areas for a lot of the projects that I work with. And the fact that it was reworked and now has some automation features, I think is really quite outstanding, Kate. So I would encourage you to check that out. That would be cool. She says here, if you had an automation that fired after the course completion quiz was completed, would that work? There is an automation that fires off after the course completion quiz is completed. That's in engagements. And so you can have an automation that fires off the certificate when they successfully complete the final quiz. You could automate the certificate gets sent. That's in engagements. The other thing in engagements is you can create an email in the engagements, name that email, and then instead of sending a certificate, you can send an email. So when they complete the course quiz, one of the triggers could be student completes quiz. So student completes a quiz, send this email, and then you could say, send it immediately, send it in 1 day, send it in 2 days, send it in 10 days, whatever. But there's a delay option at the bottom of engagements that allows you to more customize when things get sent. So that is a good one. All right. Want to go back up because Juan had a question. Juan says, what bundles qualify for the extra office hours other than the Universe bundle? I want to be real specific because the way the question is asked. We don't have any extra office hours. we have office hours. We don't have extra office hours. So we have this call that we do at 12 o'clock Central Time on Thursdays. And then we have the office hours call that we do at 2 o'clock Central on Thursdays. It's just ask me anything and office hours. And the people that can come to office hours are anyone that bought the Universe bundle or the Infinity bundle. And the people whose emails are used on the account are the ones that get the invitation email. Bada boom, bada bing. All right. Here we go. Kyle's back. Kyle says sorry. Kyle, don't be sorry. We need these questions. That's how the content works here. Sorry, last question. Does Lifter have bulk purchases where a manager can assign users tokens to employers and monitor their progress? For example, restaurant owner training new hires. Kyle, a lot of people ask this question in this way, but that's not the way that LifterLMS actually does it. So originally, way back when LifterLMS came out, it came out with coupons and vouchers. And so way back when, let's say you had a restaurant owner training new hires, that restaurant owner would get in touch with you. You own the website, and they would say, hey, I've got 10 people I want to train. And you would say, okay, well, I can train 10 people for $5,000. And then he would send you $5,000, and you would send him 10 vouchers. And the students would use those vouchers to enroll and be auto-enrolled into the courses that that owner paid for. Now we have an advanced add-on, and the deal that you have on hosting gives you access to this add-on. It's called Groups. So you would use Groups, and then the person buys the training, sets the number of students, pays for it online, and instantly creates a group, and then invites their students, their employees, to that group via email. When they accept the invitation, they're automatically enrolled into the course. And what I love about using Groups, this is my favorite part about Groups, is that if someone used vouchers and then wanted to know the status of their students every week or every month or whatever, it would be on me to go and pull them a report every week or month and send them a report. Here's the list of users and their progress, right? What's really cool about Groups is it gives front-end reporting to that group manager. So if the manager says, I got these 10 employees, and they sign up for a group, they say, I got 10 people, they swipe the credit card, the site takes the money, it adds the accounts, everything's done. What's cool about Groups is you don't have to do reporting or anything. They just sign into their group, they click on reporting, and it shows their 10 people, the progress they've made, and what their grades are. So Groups is a really cool deal. If you need more information on Groups, you know how to hit me up for that. Let's see if you had an automation. Let's see. Manuel says, suggestion, a function for easy duplicate or copy a lesson. Manuel, are you asking us for a suggestion, or are you telling us you have a suggestion? Emily, we've got 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to open up a screen share and show us how to use an existing lesson or to duplicate a lesson?
Yeah. So for duplicating a lesson or using an existing one, this is something that I've been talking about a lot recently with clients. So when we're in the course builder, we can add an existing lesson. And if we search up an existing lesson, we have usually two options to either clone or attach. If a course gets deleted, it leaves detached lessons all over your website. This is important to remember, just to bring up from time to time, is that if you delete a course and you had 20 lessons in the course, the lessons are still on your website. So you need to delete the lessons before you delete the course if you're trying to completely wipe the slate clean there. And so we have some floating lessons. You can also detach a lesson from a course if you didn't want to delete it. There's this option here to detach the lesson right next to the trash can. But either way, you can attach or you can clone a lesson. You click the button clone, and it brings it right into wherever I was selected. I was at the bottom here. So it brought in a clone of my lesson. There's the question of like, what if I want to update the content in one lesson and have it update in the other lessons? If I clone my lessons, they're separate. So from now, it creates a copy, but from now on, they're separate. So if you update one, the other one will not update. But you can make it update if you were to, let's see, we have add a quiz. somewhere else. Here it is. It's in section 2, and it's all the way here at the bottom. So if I were to use my little document navigator, click and select my whole lesson content here, I can group, and then I can create a pattern from my group. I can create a synced pattern, which means that it will update across multiple locations. If I were to update it, this is my add a quiz lesson. I can put it in a category if I want to categorize my blocks or my patterns. But basically, this is now a pattern, and I can go to my other add a quiz lesson, which has the same content. I can delete all this other content I don't need because we're going to drop in the pattern for pattern, and then my patterns, add a quiz lesson. So now that same block is in both lessons, and they are true synchronized clones at that point. So 2 ways to do it.
For the lesson based on the patterns.
Yeah, and you know, you could do patterns in any kind of format. You could have your patterns on a page. Like yesterday, I was working with someone in the chat here with long document page. So they had a big multi-page, 100-page document for training. It was a reference on a big WordPress page, super tall. And then we also built a course out of that content, and we used the reusable patterns or synced patterns there to bring in blocks from that page into the lessons so that they would update in the lessons and in the page if you were to update one or the other, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it's important to recognize the type of content you have and the type of tools that you're using. Because if you are using synced patterns or synced blocks, you're going to want to keep those organized. Like if you're trying to build a whole LMS out of that, you're going to have a ton of patterns that you would have created. The other thing is, if all your lessons are video and you're using a tool like Presto Player syncs all the videos. So you could update a video that's used in multiple lessons. And if you change that video out, it's going to change that video in all those lessons where it's synced. So you just kind of have to understand which tools you have and what your use case is for trying to simplify things. In a lot of cases, especially if you are working with a team, the more systems you build in a quest to simplify, remember, you also have to train everybody on what you built to make things simple, and that training adds the difficulty.
Yeah.
That was a lot. So Manuel, your answer to duplicate or copy a lesson, you can add an existing lesson and you can copy and clone it and put it right where you want it. You could use pattern material and you could make a new lesson and embed that pattern. Or if it's video based and you wanted to use kind of a synced video tool, I know that Presto Player works really good at that in the Media Manager, the Media Hub, they call it. All right, we are at the top of the hour. Emily, we've made it. How do people reach you?
WPCourseGuide.com or Magic Emily Middleton on Google. How about you, Kurt?
LinkedIn's the best thing for me. If you want to reach me personally, LinkedIn, because I'm the only Kurt Von Annen on LinkedIn. So when you find me, you know you've got me. That's a good one. And then Mañana no Mas is my agency name. I think this is a good one right here. We answered that question, so totally complicated. And he says, oh my God, of course it's my fault. I never noticed the giant blue button. So yeah, I typically, when I am working with my clients, I typically say, here's the 3 main features, right? Add a section, add a lesson, or add an existing lesson. When you get into managing patterns and other things inside the WordPress thing, you just have to, if you're going to go that route, you got to train people how to organize it, how to find it, how to use it, how to title it, all those things. Naming conventions become important. It just really depends on the scale of the project. If it's huge, it could be more of a nightmare than it's worth to use the patterns. I know everyone's got their own preference. That's the cool part about WordPress. We can do things multiple ways. All right, I think we're done. You ready, Emily?
I'm ready.
I'm going to hit the magic button.